Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tech-Lax, the webcast. Joining me today is Team Mexico GM, Enrique. How's it going, Enrique?
Oh, good, OJ. How are you today?
Good, buddy. So I got a few questions for you here,
Awesome.
and then we get into our rapid 1 minute fire game. So, who is the best superhero?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Um, if I had to pick like the best superhero like all time, uh, hmm. Oh, I don't know. I would have to say Wolverine because like Wolverine out of all characters, was often like the weird one, if you will. But he can regenerate himself. He learned how to control his anger, and he was always the lone wolf, which was funny because Wolverines are usually in a pack.
Mm, nice. Okay, next question. Oh, sorry. Who's your favorite superhero as well?
Oh, I would still say Wolverine. He's been around since the '60s. I mean, um, in a video game, if there's two of them, that's how you know he's iconic.
Yeah. Has there been a video game with two versions of Wolverine?
Yeah, we'll explain that later.
Okay. uh, you play a lot of lacrosse, I understand. Tell me a bit
Yeah.
about the teams you play for and how you started in lacrosse.
So I grew up in Western Washington, and around that part of Washington, we played a lot of baseball, football, and basketball, the big three. So when I moved down to Colorado when I was in high school, I was kind of taking over playing playing baseball. So kid in for my kid in class was saying like, "Hey, come try out the sport." I just quit playing baseball in general, and I ended up trying out lacrosse for the first time, and just fell in love with it, and here I am today. Um, Currently, right now, I actually play for a team called the Colorado Mountain Chickens, and a mountain chicken is actually an indigenous frog in Montserrat in the Caribbean. They're endangered right now, so because people will catch them, fry them, and eat them. So
Ah,
yeah, it's not exactly a good thing. But our logo is actually a frog head with a chicken body, and it's holding a lacrosse stick. So
that sounds awesome.
yeah, and so we have two jerseys. We have the one with our logo and our crest, and then another one that says frogs. And it always confuses everybody because they're like, mountain chicken, like what's a mountain chicken? And same thing,
Yeah.
indigenous frog, blah blah blah. And so it always throws everybody off. It's like calling like a mud puppy or something of that sort.
Yeah.
Has a different name to it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. What is your fave game day hydration drink?
Uh, as a teenager, I would have said like a Monster because I love to run. But now, I mean, anything. I would probably say anything electrolyte. I'm getting older. Need to stay hydrated.
What was your go-to monster back in the day?
Back in the day, I liked the low carb one, but now that there's more flavors, if I had to pick one, I would have to pick the like the it's I think it's called it's the zero sugar white one or the zero sugar like teal one because
Oh
like
yeah.
when I would have to work overnight, that would be my go-to. Also, it's like 2 for $5, so
Yeah.
get $2 for $5
Yeah.
in the long run.
Nice. Okay. Best video game of all time.
So this is where I told you about the two Wolverines.
Okay.
So I think, my opinion, it's actually one of the best fighting games in history. It's actually Marvel versus Capcom 2. Um, you have all the characters from Marvel's universe and all the characters from Capcom's universe, and they just fight on a three-on-three battle. Um, Wolverine is so iconic. There's two Wolverines. There's one with the steel claws, and then there's one with the bone claws.
Ooh.
And they have the same. They have the same identical move set, except I think their specials are a little bit different.
Ah.
But like that's how you know he's iconic. Two, not one, but two characters on that one.
Yeah.
But my brother and I used to play it a lot as a kid. We would go to arcades and play it all the time. And now they just released, actually a couple weeks ago, um, in a bundle that game, and just buying the original copy of that game for like Xbox and the PlayStation 2, anywhere from 80 to a couple $100s. So when that game was announced, I put in a pre-order. I was ready to buy it, and just on top of that, it was right before Worlds, so I was really excited to play it in Worlds, but I was so busy that I actually never got a chance to play it. But I play it whenever I get the chance to. But even to this day, people are still playing it, and the game came out in 2000.
Yeah. What system did you get it for?
I have I got it for the Nintendo Switch just because
Nice.
I like bringing my Switch wherever I go.
Nice.
But they have it out for the PlayStation 5, and they're working on getting it developed for the Xbox systems. They ran into some copyright issues, but um, yeah, it's finding it as an arcade version is harder than finding it.
Ooh. Yeah, no, it sounds like it. One of my favorite Marvel video games is Ultimate Alliance, so
Oh, I remember playing that as a kid too for
yeah.
Xbox.
I have it for Switch actually, the Ultimate Alliance 3.
Oh, okay. I remember playing the original one on Xbox, and I just found out about Deadpool.
Yeah, no, I would willingly go back and play original ones though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now we get into our rapid 1 minute game, where the goal is to have the most time on the clock possible.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Dunkin' or Starbucks?
Duncan.
Disney Plus or Netflix?
Disney Plus by a mile.
PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox.
Warrior or Pal Lacrosse?
Warrior.
Mentality or physicality?
Mentality.
Time travel or teleportation?
Teleportation.
Halloween or Christmas?
Christmas.
NLL or PLL?
NOL by a mile.
DC or Marvel?
I'm going to say DC.
Okay, and bonus question: Pixar movie or Disney movie?
Pixar.
Okay, you got the bonus. There is actually a right answer to the bonus question, and you got it on the money.
Cool. I always say Pixar because the theory is that they're all in the same universe.
Yeah, I've heard
Uh,
it. I've seen the Pixar movie.
yeah, and like after watching a few of them, I'm like, oh, there it is right there. There it is right there. There it is right there. And it's
Yeah.
like, and like a lot of Disney movies are based off of like old novels. Like
Mhm.
Lion King's based off of Hamlet.
Yeah.
And so it's like not really original, but then like Pixar, they throw in all those little Easter eggs to, like get you wanting to watch it more and pay attention to things more and
Yeah.
more as time goes on.
Yeah. Okay, so because of the bonus question, you got 22 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Who has been the biggest influence in your lacrosse career, and how have they impacted your game?
So when I first started playing back in, I'm going to date myself, like 2007, we had the Colorado Mammoth and the original Denver Outlaws. One of my favorite players of all time, and funny enough, he still lives in Colorado. I only met him like maybe twice. Was Brian Langtry. Brian Langtry played at Hofstra, and then he came out to Colorado to play for the Mammoth and the Outlaws. But when I would watch, the NLL, the MLL, and the PLL and the NLL on TV, I would always hear his name, and so growing up, I've always wanted to be like him, being that elusive midfielder, even with the long hair, but also he was also tough as nails. Like he would want to fight and throw down to where everything about him I copied with his dodges, with his dives. He was the guy I looked up to. There was the Gary Gates, the Paul Rabels at the time, but I always looked up to Brian Langtry, um, and so I even wanted his number, the number 6, and um, it was to a point to where like I looked up to him when he retired from both leagues. I was kind of upset because even in his old age, I kept looking at him, and I always thought he was very inspiring, and he's very inspiring here locally as well, even with this club program, the Sixers, and everything in between. He's even though he's not as active in the pro game as much, he's still around in the community as much as he is
Awesome. Oh, yeah. What's the craziest moment you've experienced in life so far? Can you tell us about it?
in life.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm sure with the hard questions, man.
No, that's fine. So I at one point I used to work in the hospital. I used to work in the hospital, and we were sending a patient home, and we were helping them get outside and wait for their ride. So we're outside, we're talking. It's a nice Colorado day, and we're just hearing this woman yell, and we're just curiously looking at them, wondering what's going on. And in this particular area of Colorado, it's not exactly the safest, not the safest, but it's also the most random part of Colorado. And you know, they're trying to talk to her. They're trying to calm her down. They're like, "What's going on? Hey, relax, relax." She sits right next to a tree, yells probably as loud as she can, and little do we know, a baby comes out.
Oh.
And she was probably maybe 30 yards away from us, and we're like, "Huh?" Just curiously looking at her, and they're like, "Oh, cool. She just had a baby."
Yeah.
And we didn't know anything prior to her yelling about like what her history was or anything.
Yeah.
And so then they pick her up, they put her in the stretcher, and they bring her inside, and we're like, "Huh?" And so I asked my colleagues too, like, "Have you ever seen anything like that?" And we're like, "No, we have never seen anything like that before."
Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely sounds crazy for sure.
yeah, and I mean that's just like bits and pieces of what I've seen in the medical field, but
Yeah.
that's definitely one of the craziest things I've seen.
Nice. Okay, you get to pick the next NLL expansion. Where is it and what is team name?
I'm actually kind of surprised that the NLL took this team away and they haven't brought anything back. But like Minnesota, it would be cool to see Minnesota have a team again. Um, I don't think they'll get the name Swarm back, but it would be cool if they had the Swarm. But if they had to pick a name, it would. I think like a team like the Lakers or like the Walleye, something that's related to what Minnesota has. Um, because funny enough, they play enough hockey as it is. Right, it shouldn't be a hard sell to get a lot of those hockey fans into it, just like they do in Colorado and in like up in Canada.
Yeah.
So it would be cool to see Minnesota have a team again.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see some logo potential for Minnesota.
Yeah, and I mean, gives you something to do when it's snowing 4 or 5 feet every couple of weeks.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Any game day superstitions?
Oh, so when I used to play like semi